Today we're at the University of Northern Colorado talking about the SPIN Micromobility effort. Today with me is Hanna Feldmann, who's leading that effort. Hanna, before we get into the project itself, what drew you to this kind of work in transportation planning and urban regional development?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I actually grew up here in Greeley, and I grew up around a lot of community-minded individuals. That led me to study American government at CSU, and I really found that the best way you can make an impact on your community is at the local and regional level. That's what affects our daily lives. And I got really interested in transportation because we all have to get somewhere.
Yeah, and for those who are hearing about it for the first time, can you give us a quick overview of the SPIN Micromobility pilot, what it is, why you decided to launch it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been a 15-month pilot. It started in October of last year. And this is really part of a larger effort to understand how to provide more transportation options to the community. Really, the goal of the pilot is to, we wanted to start at UNC's campus. It's a good place to test shared micromobility. It's a kind of user group that tends to adopt it pretty early on. And we also had a lot of interest from the Downtown Development Authority to encourage more UNC students to visit downtown and support those businesses.
Great. So how does this pilot fit into Greeley's bigger transportation plans?
Yeah, absolutely. So we recently adopted our 2045 Transportation Master Plan. That was in 2023, and it really outlined how we wanted to provide more transportation options to the community. We did what's called an origin-destination analysis that found that most of the trips happening in Greeley are between 1 and 3 miles, which really indicates that although we have a lot of people driving every day, that there are other transportation options that could be meeting those transportation demands. And so it's really a larger part of making sure we have more transportation options and trying to do things like reduce congestion, have more available parking, and have more equitable transportation options.
That's wonderful. This pilot, like you said, launched in October. What kind of numbers have you seen so far?
Yeah, I actually checked this morning, and we've had 16,008 rides as of this morning. So, more than 1,000 rides per month of operation, so about 2,000. We really saw an increase in usage as weather warmed, which we were anticipating. Initially, we saw a lot of the early adopters centered around campus, which is what we were anticipating as well. But the service area is actually all the way from 35th Avenue to just east of US 85, and then it's north of US 34 and south of about A Street. And we're actually currently seeing ridership across the pilot area, which really indicates that there's been adoption of the program in the pilot area.
Okay. So any surprises or lessons that you've learned so far just within these first couple months?
Yeah, I'd say one of the things that that I was surprised by is we really thought we'd mostly see trips centered around downtown and UNC, but we are seeing trips across the service area. We've actually gotten requests to increase the service area by both businesses and users of the program. We also have gotten feedback from visitors of Greeley that one of the reasons that they chose to take a trip to Greeley was because we had a shared micromobility program. They wanted to experience more of the community. They didn't have a car, and that was a really important choice for that tourist to come to our community. So we're really happy to hear right away that that's supporting tourism. And then overall, our next steps is we anticipated this, but, we are seeing conflicts of users sometimes parking in ways that they shouldn't be. And really one of the best ways to prevent that is to have dedicated parking areas, especially in high use or high conflict areas. So we are hoping to increase that if the program continues.
Okay, so how can residents share their feedback and help shape the future of this program?
Yeah, that's a key part of this pilot is to really understand what is important both for residents and their transportation options and access to this program, as well as to riders of the program. So we have a survey that's starting on August 15th that's going through the end of September. You can access the survey either in the SPIN app if you're a rider of the SPIN program, or on speakupgreeley.com if you're just a resident who wants to give us feedback. We really are hoping to use this information to better understand how to have a program long term and inform our next steps and recommendations to City Council.
Okay. Well, if you haven't tried it yet, now's your time. Jump on an e-bike or an e-scooter and give it a go. Head to speakupgreeley.com to take that survey. I hear Spin might have some fun little rewards for that, coming up. So make sure you take that survey. And thank you, Hannah, so much for everything. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.